All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am V. Ravi Kumar and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi cautions farmers against false propaganda by opposition parties over new farm laws. Says MSP and Mandi system will continue. Prime Minister to deliver keynote address at ASSOCHAM Foundation Week at 10:30 a.m. today. Polling underway for 8th and final phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Health Ministry says COVID-19 vaccination will be voluntary. US bans Chinese chipmaker SMIC from using American technology. And in cricket, India to resume from the overnight score of 9-1 against Australia on day 3 of Adelaide Test. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has cautioned farmers against false propaganda being spread by opposition parties over the new farm laws. He assured the farmers that minimum support price MSP and Mandi system will continue. The Prime Minister was virtually addressing over 50 lakh farmers of Madhya Pradesh at the Kisan Mahasammelan yesterday. Mr. Modi said the government is ready to talk to farmers on every issue. He assured addressal of their concerns on recent agricultural reforms. The Prime Minister stressed that there is no reason to mistrust the reforms made by the government and asserted that there is no place for lies. He asked the people to ponder why would the Swaminathan Committee report be implemented if the government intended to remove the MSP system. The Prime Minister said the Swaminathan Committee report on agrarian reform was suppressed by the previous government while the NDA government has implemented it. Mr. Modi accused the opposition of using farmers for politics, whereas the NDA government is dedicated to farmers for their development.
वो जिन चीजों का वादा करते थे वही बातें इन कृषि सुधारों में की गई हैं। मुझे लगता है उनको पीड़ा इस बात से नहीं है कि कृषि कानूनों में सुधार क्यों हुआ। उनको तकलीफ इस बात में है कि जो काम हम कहते थे लेकिन कर नहीं पाते थे वो मोदी ने कैसे किया, मोदी को इसका क्रेडिट कैसे मिल जाए। मैं सभी राजनीतिक दलों को हाथ जोड़ के कहना चाहता हूं, आप सारा क्रेडिट अपने पास रख लीजिए। आपके सारे पुराने घोषणा पत्रों को ही मैं क्रेडिट देता हूं। मुझे क्रेडिट नहीं चाहिए, मुझे किसान के जीवन में आसानी चाहिए, समृद्धि चाहिए।
The Prime Minister stressed that all the 3 agricultural laws are extremely beneficial for the farmers. He said these laws are very important for the progress of agriculture and these reforms should have been implemented in the country 25 to 30 years ago.
देश के किसानों की उन मांगों को भी पूरा किया गया है जिन पर बरसों से सिर्फ और सिर्फ मंथन चल रहा था। बीते कई दिनों से देश में किसानों के लिए जो नए कानून बने, आजकल उसकी चर्चा बहुत है। एक कृषि सुधार, ये कानून रातों रात नहीं आए हैं। पिछले 20-22 साल से इस देश की हर सरकार ने, राज्यों की सरकार ने इस पर व्यापक चर्चा की है। कम अधिक सभी संगठनों ने इन पर विमर्श किया। देश के किसानों के संगठन, कृषि एक्सपर्ट, कृषि अर्थशास्त्री, कृषि वैज्ञानिक, हमारे यहाँ के प्रोग्रेसिव किसान भी लगातार कृषि क्षेत्र में सुधार की मांग करते आए।
The Prime Minister said the government has stopped black marketing of urea. He said that the opposition parties are spreading the illusion that the MSP system will end. He said there is no greater lie than this.
अगर कानून लागू होने के बाद भी एमएसपी की घोषणा हुई, एमएसपी पर सरकारी खरीदी हुई, उन्हीं मंडियों में हुई, तो क्या कोई समझदार इस बात को स्वीकार करेगा कि एमएसपी बंद हो जाएगी? और इसलिए मैं कहता हूं, इससे बड़ा कोई झूठ नहीं हो सकता।
Prime Minister Modi said that the second big lie is that the mandis will end. He assured that no agricultural produce market of the country will be closed and in fact, they are going to spend more than 500 crore rupees on their modernization. He said the Farming Agreement Act they have enacted provides protection to farmers. The Prime Minister clarified that the new law has given freedom to farmers to sell in the mandi or outside. He said in contract farming only crops or produce are transacted but the land remains with the farmer. The agreement has nothing to do with the land. even if a natural disaster strikes, the farmer gets full money. The Prime Minister said the new law has ensured a share of windfall profits to the farmers. The Prime Minister said 35 lakh farmers of Madhya Pradesh whose crops were affected due to hailstorm are being provided with a financial aid of 1,600 crore rupees, which is being transferred directly to their bank accounts. On this occasion, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan said that the farmers of the state are with the Prime Minister and thanked him for implementing the new agricultural laws. Union Minister for Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare Narendra Singh Tomar has appealed to the farmers' community not to fall prey to misconceptions and false propaganda about the new farm law and urged them to understand the facts related to it. In a letter to the people, Mr. Tomar cautioned the farmers against various political parties' vested political interests in inciting the farmers against the bill. He said, one of the major problems of farmers is that most of the warehouses, cold storages or processing centers are located near big cities instead of villages, because of which farmers are not able to take full advantage of it. He said to address this imbalance, an agricultural infrastructure fund of 1 lakh crore rupees has now been created. The minister also addressed the doubts of farmers of losing their land, stating that it's an illusion created in the minds of the farmers.
The government has said that paddy procurement has shown an increase of 23.70% in the current Kharif marketing season over last year. The Agriculture Ministry said over 405 lakh tons of paddy has been procured till date. It said government continues to procure Kharif crops at its minimum support price from farmers as per its existing MSP schemes. Out of the total purchase, Punjab alone has contributed over 202 lakh tons, which is 50.2% of total procurement. The ministry said about 47 lakh 17,000 farmers have already been benefited from the ongoing procurement operations with MSP value of 76,524 crore rupees. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the keynote address at ASSOCHAM Foundation Week at 10:30 a.m. through video conferencing. The Prime Minister will also present the ASSOCHAM Enterprise of the Century Award to leading industrialist Ratan Tata, who will receive the award on behalf of the Tata Group. ASSOCHAM was established in 1920 by promoter chambers representing all regions of India, having in its fold over 400 chambers and trade associations and serving over 4.5 lakh members across India. ASSOCHAM has emerged as the fountainhead of knowledge for Indian industry.
Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari will inaugurate and lay foundation stone for 33 highway projects in Karnataka today. The projects, worth 11,000 crore rupees, has a road length of nearly 1,200 kilometers. Paving the way for development of Karnataka, these roads will enhance better connectivity, convenience and economic growth in the state. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa will preside over the virtual function. It will also be attended by Union Minister General V.K. Singh, Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka Govind M. Karjol and several ministers from the state. Minister of Housing and Urban Affairs Hardeep Singh Puri has said that government has been working for the development of the minorities with dedication over the years and the results are commendable. Presiding over the Minority Day celebration function organized by the National Commission for Minorities in New Delhi, Mr. Puri said, in order to make the Prime Minister's call of vocal for local a success, minorities themselves are taking initiative and participating in schemes like Make in India and Startup India and others. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be reviewing the passing out parade at the Air Force Academy in Dundigal near Hyderabad this morning. He arrived at the academy last evening on a two-day visit. The stage is set for the combined graduation parade with full military splendor, marking the successful completion of pre-commissioning training of flight cadets of various branches of the Indian Air Force. The Minister will confer the President's commission to the graduating trainees. The ceremony includes presentation of wings and brevets to the flight cadets, completing flying and navigation training. The event will be followed by an aerobatic display. Polling is underway for the 8th and last phase of District Development Council DDC elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Voting began at 7 this morning and will end at 2 p.m. Polling is taking place for 28 DDC constituencies in this phase. Of these, 15 are in Jammu region and 13 in Kashmir division. By-polls for Sarpanch and Panch is also being held today. Elaborate security arrangements have been made to ensure smooth and incident-free polling. Due to the biting cold, poll process is slow but will pick up as the day progresses. Our Jammu correspondent has filed this report.
A total of 168 candidates are in the fray in Phase 8. Of these, 122 candidates are male and 46 are female. A total of 6,40,443 electorate are eligible to exercise their franchise, for whom State Election Commission has set up 1,703 polling booths. The first 7 phases of polling held so far has seen impressive turnout of voters exercising their franchise. The 7th phase of polling broke the record percentage of voting in all the 6 phases of DDC elections. State Election Commissioner K.K. Sharma has appealed people to come forward and vote in large numbers in the 8th and final phase. R.K. Raina, AR News, Jammu.
Home Minister Amit Shah will begin a 2-day visit to West Bengal today. He arrived in Kolkata early this morning. Mr. Shah will address a public meeting at Medinipur this afternoon. Before that, he will offer prayers at Siddheshwari Kali Temple in Medinipur. He will also pay tribute to freedom fighter Khudiram Bose. Tomorrow, he will hold a road show in Birbhum after his visit to Vishwabharati University, established by Rabindranath Tagore in 1921. Central Bureau of Investigation has filed a charge sheet against 4 accused in the Hathras case. The charge sheet was filed in the court of Special Judge Hathras in the case related to the alleged gang rape and murder of a girl in a village under Chandpa police station in Hathras district on 14th of September.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi cautions farmers against false propaganda by opposition parties over new farm laws. Says MSP and Mandi system will continue. Prime Minister to deliver keynote address at ASSOCHAM Foundation Week at 10:30 a.m. today. Polling underway for 8th and final phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Health Ministry says COVID-19 vaccination will be voluntary. U.S. banned Chinese chipmaker SMIC from using American technology. And in cricket, India to resume from overnight score of 9-1 against Australia on day 3 of Adelaide Test. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. The government today said that India's active cases of COVID-19 is under 3.5% and country's recovery rate is over 95%. In a tweet, Health Ministry said India has followed a focused strategy of high levels of testing, comprehensive tracking and tracing, and prompt treatment. It said this has led to low mortality and very high recoveries. The national COVID-19 recovery rate has improved to 95.40% as more than 31,000 people recovered from the infection during the last 24 hours. The Health Ministry said the total number of recoveries has gone up to over 95,20,000. The actual caseload currently comprises only 3.14% of the total positive cases. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is around 3,13,000. A total of 1,480 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported in Delhi during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 6,14,000. Delhi government said that over 5,93,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. Gujarat has recorded 1,075 new cases during the last 24 hours. The recovery rate further improved and reached 92.89%. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
The total number of COVID-19 cases detected so far in Gujarat has reached up to 2,33,263. Out of these, 2,16,683 patients recovered. 1,155 patients recovered during the last 24 hours. More than 89,44,000 tests have been carried out in the state till date. Maximum 232 new cases reported from Ahmedabad, while Surat recorded 173 new cases. At present, total active cases in the state are 12,360, out of which 64 patients are on ventilator. 9 patients died yesterday, taking the total death due to COVID-19 up to 4,220. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
In Odisha, the COVID-19 active caseload has further come down to 2,676. In the last 24 hours, COVID-19 recovery has also shot up by 363 to a total of 3,20,947. More from our Odisha correspondent.
Even as the state continues to witness COVID-19 contraction with each passing day, it is also poised for mass vaccination anticipated early the upcoming year. While the state has enrolled about 3.2 lakh healthcare workers, including 1.4 lakh ICDS functionaries, thereby uploading the database on the CoWIN portal, it has also identified about 30,000 session sites with more than 8,000 vaccinators in position. Furthermore, while 1,222 cold chain points for storage of vaccine across the state have been identified, steering committees right from the state down to the block level have also been put in place to oversee the mass vaccination drive. Girish Chandra Das, CIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Bihar government has decided to open schools and coaching centers for class 9 upwards from 4th of January with COVID-19 safety protocols. This decision was taken by the Crisis Management Group of the state government. Principal Secretary Education Sanjay Kumar said if all goes well, lower classes will resume later in a phased manner. Mr. Kumar said private schools and coaching centers will be responsible for sanitizing their premises and implementing COVID-19 guidelines.
Health Ministry has said that getting vaccinated for COVID-19 will be voluntary. The ministry, however, said that it is advisable to receive a complete schedule of anti-coronavirus vaccine irrespective of past history of infection with COVID-19, as this will help in developing a strong immune response against the disease. In a series of FAQs, the ministry said that the vaccine introduced in India will be as effective as any vaccine developed by other countries. It said in the initial phase, COVID vaccine will be provided to the selected priority groups as they are at higher risk. Our correspondent reports that vaccine trials are under different stages of finalization and the government is geared to launch the vaccine for COVID-19 soon.
The first group who will be vaccinated includes healthcare and frontline workers. The second group to receive COVID-19 vaccine will be the persons over 50 years of age and persons under 50 years with comorbid conditions. The ministry has said that vaccination for COVID-19 is voluntary. However, it has advised to receive the complete schedule of COVID-19 vaccine for protecting oneself against this disease. This will also limit the spread of this disease to the close contacts, including family members, friends, relatives and co-workers. Dipendra Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
Talking to All India Radio, Dr. Piyush Ranjan of AIIMS in New Delhi has urged people to take all precautionary measures to avoid coronavirus infections even after availability of vaccine.
देखिए ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ 9 मंथ 9 महीनों में कोविड में हमारी जानकारी बदलती रही, लोगों के नैरेटिव्स बदलते रहे। पहले हमें जानकारी नहीं था, हम प्रोटेक्शन के लिए बहुत ज्यादा रिसर्च कर रहे थे, बातें कर रहे थे, फिर बाद में ट्रीटमेंट मॉडलिटी के बारे में बात हुई। वैक्सीन के बारे में जो चिकित्सा जगत की एक बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि होगी कि अगर ये वैक्सीन जो है 100% प्रोटेक्शन और ये सारी चीजें हो जाएं। लेकिन वैक्सीन के लेने से पहले, वैक्सीन के लेने के दौरान और वैक्सीन के लेने के बाद भी जो सबसे बड़ा वैक्सीन है वो आपका संयम और सतर्कता है। आपको प्रोटेक्टिव मेजर्स बराबर बनाए रखना है और इसमें किसी भी तरह की कोई कोताही नहीं बरतनी है।
Health Minister Harsh Vardhan has emphasized the importance of multi-stakeholder coordination, prevention and patient-centric quality care in making giant strides towards a TB-free India. Dr. Vardhan was digitally addressing the Platinum Jubilee of the National Conference of Tuberculosis and Chest Diseases yesterday. He said, declaration of TB as a notifiable disease in the country has improved the identification of TB cases and helped reduce the gap in identifying the missing cases in the country. The year 2020 witnessed a landmark development in education sector in the form of the new education policy. The policy is a comprehensive framework for elementary to higher education. It also covers vocational training in rural and urban areas. Our correspondent reports that the policy promises to reform and transform our education system by next year.
Mohammad Qasim, a junior high school teacher in Mukarrabpur village of Sambhal district of Uttar Pradesh, is quite upbeat these days. No, that has nothing to do with the palpable sighting of the COVID vaccine. Rather, the spring in his step has to do with the new education policy announced by the centre recently.
It is an India-specific policy. It has not been copied and pasted from some other country. It focuses on the mother tongue. Not only children will be able to study their mother tongue, it will also generate a lot of employment for the language teachers.
Almora-based lecturer and literator Dr. Deepa Gupta says the new policy will take the students from memorizing to learning.
It will be a blessing for students who are creative. The present education system is making children who just memorize by heart and so fall behind. Learning your mother tongue till the 5th class helps them to keep their culture roots. The proposal for flexibility at graduation level of education will benefit those who leave study in between. First year, the student gets a certificate, second year diploma and a degree on completing, which is very practical.
Union Education Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank told told AIR News that the policy has the potential of creating Atmanirbhar Bharat and taking India to the new heights at the international level.
तो नई शिक्षा नीति 2020 आ रही है, ये जहाँ अंतिम छोर के बच्चों को पूरी विकास की संभावनाओं को देगी, वहीं विविध क्षेत्रों में आगे बढ़कर के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर भारत का न केवल स्वाभिमान सम्मान बढ़ाएगी, बल्कि जो हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने $5 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था की बात की है, कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात की है, इन दोनों को करने में ये जो नई शिक्षा नीति है, वो निश्चित रूप में एक आधारशिला बनेगी.
One has been listening from time immemorial that we follow Lord Macaulay's mission for using education to create prototype clerks. But only now, a tectonic change has occurred and the entire education system is revolutionized from grassroots level vision of real education. Naseem Naqvi, AIR News, New Delhi.
India International Science Festival IISF 2020 is going to be organized between the 22nd and 25th of December 2020 on virtual platforms. This will be the largest science festival on a virtual platform. The central theme of this year's IISF is Science for Self-Reliant India and Global Welfare. The festival begins on 22nd of December, the birthday of Srinivasa Ramanujan, the world-renowned Indian mathematician, and culminates on the 25th of December, the birthday of former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who was a firm believer of development through science and technology. In an exclusive interview with AIR News, Jayant Sahasrabudhe, National Organizing Secretary, Vigyan Bharati, has said the aim of IISF is making our young generation aware of the new things which are coming up on the horizon of science and technology so that they may pursue science further in their life.
IISF is specifically meant to celebrate achievements and advancements of science and technology of our country as well as global advancements in science and technology. So actually we are making our young generation aware about the new things which are coming up on the horizon of science and technology so that they may pursue science further in their life.
For the excerpts of the interview, listen to the Parikrama program on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 4:30 p.m. today. All India Radio's weekly magazine, Sanskrit Saptahiki, will air its 25th episode today. Sanskrit Saptahiki, which started on 4th of July this year, will complete broadcast of its 25 episodes today. This weekly Sanskrit magazine is presented by All India Radio every Saturday at 11:20 a.m. and the repeat program airs every Sunday at 11:20 a.m. On the special occasion of its 25th edition, a young and dynamic Sanskrit scholar, Dr. Jahan Ara, will share her Sanskrit journey with the audience in an interview dialogue sequence. Dr. Jahan Ara, who comes from Mao, a town in Uttar Pradesh, has created a record in Sanskrit research that reveals very interesting facts on Indian system knowledge. Dr. Jahan Ara has extensively researched in the plays of Mahakavi Kalidas and has also done remarkable research on the diagnosis of modern social problems reflected in the Mahabharata. Dr. Ara has been a postdoctoral fellow of Jamia Millia Islamia, giving inspiring lectures on Indian system knowledge.
सुनिए संस्कृत जगत से जुड़ी विभिन्न गतिविधियों पर आधारित कार्यक्रम संस्कृत साप्ताहिकी का 25वां विशेष संस्करण इस शनिवार प्रातः 11:20 से तथा पुनः प्रसारण रविवार प्रातः 11:20 से आकाशवाणी के समाचार चैनल FM गोल्ड पर।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold a virtual summit with his Vietnam counterpart Nguyen Xuan Phuc on Monday. During the summit, the two leaders will exchange views on a wide range of bilateral, regional and global issues and provide guidance for the future development of India-Vietnam Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. In this year, both countries continued to maintain high-level exchanges. The United States has banned China's top chipmaker SMIC from using American technology. U.S. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross said the company perfectly illustrates the risk of China using U.S. technology to modernize its military. He said, "We will not allow advanced U.S. technology to help build the military of an increasingly belligerent adversary." The U.S. government has slapped harsh restrictions on Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation, or SMIC, as the Trump administration continues to pile pressure on Chinese firms during its final weeks. Dozens of Chinese companies, including SMIC and drone maker DJI, were added to the Commerce Department's entity list, which effectively cuts them off from US suppliers and technology.
In cricket, India will today resume play from their overnight score of 9-1 against Australia in second innings on day 3 at Adelaide in the first test of the 4-match series. Mayank Agarwal and Jasprit Bumrah were at the crease when stumps were drawn yesterday. The visitors are led by 62 runs. Earlier, India bowled out Australia for 191 for a first innings lead of 53 runs. For India, Ravichandran Ashwin claimed 4 wickets while Umesh Yadav bagged 3 wickets. India were all out for 244 in the first session of play, adding only 11 runs to an overnight score of 233 for 6. Indian captain Virat Kohli had won the toss and elected to bat first. Kohli played a patient captain's knock of 74 and Ajinkya Rahane with 42 and Cheteshwar Pujara with 43 gave him able support in their first innings.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital is reeling under cold wave as the minimum temperature dipped to 4 degrees Celsius while the maximum is expected to be around 21 degrees Celsius. In Mumbai, the sky will be clear. The minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees Celsius. Chennai is expected to witness a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The temperature will hover between 24 and 30 degrees Celsius. Kolkata is also expected to have fog or mist in the morning and mainly clear sky later. The temperature will vary between 13 and 22 degrees Celsius. On to the north, in Srinagar, the sky will be mainly clear. The minimum temperature was -6 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 10 degrees. In Jammu, the lower level of temperature was 3 degrees Celsius while the upper level will be around 14 degrees. The city may witness fog or mist in the morning and a mainly clear sky later. Leh may witness a partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature dipped to -16 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 1 degrees. In Gilgit, the sky will be mainly clear. The temperature will hover between -7 and 10 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, the sky will be mainly clear, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The temperature will hover between 2 and 13 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 3 and 22 degrees Celsius. The city will have a mainly clear sky. Chandigarh may witness a generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was recorded at 4 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be 19 degrees Celsius.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. PM Modi says ready for talks to dispel doubts, headlines the Tribune. The paper adds that PM accused the opposition of misleading farmers on MSP. MSP APMC intact, Modi to farmers is the Pioneer headline. The Asian Age reports that India-China diplomatic talks resume over Ladakh. The paper adds that disengagement process is set to continue. 10 million COVID plus, but India on recovery road, says Hindustan Times. People over 45 account for 40% infections, 88% deaths, adds the paper. The Indian Express reports that the government advised a vaccine shot even for those who have recovered. Budget should be like never before, says FM, writes the Business Standard. The paper adds that the finance minister has hinted that there would be greater focus on investments in biotech, pharma and R&D. The Hindu writes that the SC stays the Andhra HC order to examine constitutional breakdown, calling it disturbing. Railways on track to surpass freight traffic revenue this fiscal, says the Hindu Business Line, quoting the Railway Board chief. Finally, the Economic Times report that there is a rush of offers at 7 top IITs, with average salaries rising by about 10%, driven by war for tech talent.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi cautions farmers against false propaganda by opposition parties over new farm laws. Says MSP and Mandi system will continue. Prime Minister to deliver keynote address at ASSOCHAM Foundation Week at 10:30 a.m. today. Polling underway for 8th and final phase of District Development Council elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Health Ministry says COVID-19 vaccination will be voluntary. US bans Chinese chipmaker SMIC from using American technology. And in cricket, India to resume from the overnight score of 9-1 against Australia on day 3 of Adelaide Test. With that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.